What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Morning Brew. Please bear with me for a second. I'm trying to get a video put up on here that I want to show you guys. But today is Saturday, February 10th. How we doing this morning? What are we doing this morning? Are we on our way to work? Are we just up on this Saturday? Just up getting ready for the podcast, up getting ready for the day. You got plans for the day? What coffee are you drinking? Do you have any coffee recommendations? I think I'm gonna get a new coffee to drink every week. I don't think it's realistic to be on here drinking a new coffee every day. So I'll be on here getting a new coffee or have a new coffee on here every week. Like I said, bear with me for a second because I am trying to pull up a video that I want to show you guys at some point in the podcast. Um, but while I'm doing that, I wanted to ask you guys, um, Tim Hortons or Starbucks? Which one is it? Which one is the GOAT? I know there's a lot of back and forth when it comes to this topic about which one is the best. Where do you go? Or is it Dunkin' Donuts? You know, yeah. So, what do you guys think? Tim Hortons or Starbucks? Which one do you prefer? Let us know in the comments which one you would rather go to, Tim Hortons, Starbucks, or if it's Dunkin' Donuts or it's a local shop. Let us know. Let us know what the name of the local shop is that you usually go to. I just know those are usually the two popular ones. So let us know in the comments which one you prefer, Tim Hortons or Dunkin' Donuts. And if you guys noticed, the video quality is better. That is because I figured out how to use one of my more expensive cameras as a webcam. Like I said, we're going to keep on upgrading this thing. We're going to start doing live official podcasts with other people in different settings and different areas and stuff like that. And I'm really just trying to get a feel for this thing and see what the analytics look like. See whether or not we should even be doing episodes on the weekend. Because if people aren't up on the weekend to even watch this because they don't have work, is it even worth doing? We're going to figure that out along the way and decide whether or not down the road we should even do these on the weekend. We might take the weekend off from doing them and we might just do this as like a Monday through Friday thing, depending on the amount of people that we get on here. I know there's probably a lot of people that might get on here and watch this podcast while they're getting ready for work or while they're on their way to work. So it might not be such a smart idea to be doing these on Saturday and Sunday, but we'll see. We'll figure it out as we go. If I can be completely real with you guys, if you watch the Charged Up podcast, then you know that I tried a edible a couple of weeks back, and that shit is not for me. That's a whole different kind of fucking high. But I smoked some weed last night, and I came to the conclusion that that's what I do is if I'm going to partake in THC, it's going to be smoking it, because that edible shit is not a joke, and I don't like how it made me feel. So I think that I'm just going to go ahead and smoke and stick to smoking. I think that's going to be my thing. Let me know what you guys think about weed, because I know there's still, even though it's legal now, I know that there's still that stigma around it. But I have insomnia, and I'm like a night owl, so I'm up all night, and it's really hard for me to sleep. I mean, I don't do it all the time. I do it every now and then, but it's really hard for me to sleep. But when I smoke, puts me right to sleep, and I get a good sleep, and I wake up feeling refreshed. So yeah, like I said, bear with me. I was just trying to get this video on here so that I could show you guys this video when I pull up one of my topics, but it's on here now. I wanted to give you guys Like I said, smoked some weed last night. Felt really good. Got a really good night's sleep. Woke up feeling rejuvenated. Uh, I'm still tired, but that was because I was in such a deep sleep. But yeah, bro. I'm definitely a smoker. I'm not a edible person. The edible shit hit me differently, and I couldn't function. I like to feel good, but at the same time, still be able to do what the fuck I need to do. And that edible had me sunk in the couch. So yeah, smoked a little weed last night, man. Smoked a little weed, felt good, got me a good night's sleep. So we on here. We on here feeling good this morning. Like I said, still a little tired, but that's because I slept so good last night because I smoked me some weed. Um, and that's what I do. The flower is where I'm at. I gotta smoke the flower. I can't eat the edibles or I don't function good. Um, if you're just tuning in, let us know what's going on this morning. Is it even worth it for me to jump on here on the weekends to do these podcasts? Are you guys even up on the weekends this early tuning into the podcast? Or would it be a better thing for like Monday through Friday when you're up getting ready for work or you're on your way to work? Let me know what would be best. Also, give me coffee recommendations. I asked at the beginning of the show. If you're just now tuning in, do you prefer Tim Hortons or do you prefer Starbucks? Or is there a local shop that you prefer over both of them? And if there is, let us know the name of it. But I know that's like the ongoing thing. People go back and forth between which is better, Tim Hortons or Starbucks. So let us know. This is called the Morning Brew. So let us know where you get your coffee. Who's got the best coffee? Watched the movie last night. That's another thing I want to do on here because I'm a big movie buff. I love movies, and I want people to get on here and give their recommendations for like Netflix series, movies to watch, like must sees. Like I don't even care if it was like 1980 or 1990 when the shit was made. If it was a good ass movie and I skipped over it and didn't see it, then let me know what the name of the movie is though. But last night watched a movie called Suncoast, and that was a good ass movie. It was a little slow in the beginning, I'm not gonna lie, but it ended up being a really good ass movie, and actually brought a tear to my eye. Um, it and I mean, it was a sad movie. It honestly doesn't take a whole lot for me to cry nowadays because it seems like the older that I get, the more easy it is to make me cry nowadays. But just a good ass movie. I mean, just kind of like to sum it up for you without spoiling it. It's about this girl and her brother is pretty much a vegetable and she's taking care of him and stuff. And it's just like she realizes at the end that she should have been like just talking to him and stuff, even though he was in that state because she kind of grows disconnected from him while he's like that. So, and then a series that I watched that is crazy and like got a bunch of twists in it and like you don't see shit coming. It was American Nightmare on Netflix. Um, to summarize that without giving too much away for you guys, American Nightmare, like this guy and this lady are in their own home and she gets kidnapped. She gets kidnapped from their own home. And there's just a bunch of twists in it, man. Like I thought that he set it up, and then I thought that she set it up, and I thought that like the whole shit was like planned. American Nightmare on Netflix, man. Go check that out. Go watch that. If you like true crime documentaries and stuff like that and shit that you can't really predict, then that one keeps you guessing. That one's a good one. So American Nightmare as a series, and then Suncoast as a movie. Go check those out. Um, the Super Bowl is tomorrow. What are you guys doing for the Super Bowl? Who do you have winning? What do you think about the Taylor Swift shit? Uh, curious to curious to know who you guys think's winning. So if I decide to bet on the game, I can kind of see where everybody's leaning. But as far as like the Taylor Swift shit, you might be tired of hearing about it, but how do we feel about the Taylor Swift shit? A lot of y'all motherfuckers might tune out as soon as I said the words Taylor Swift. But how do we feel about the Taylor Swift shit? I don't know why. It's just really hard for me to wrap my hand my it's really hard for me to wrap my head around why people can have, or how people can have so much hate and animosity for somebody that they've never met in person. Like you're literally just going off of internet posts and comments and jealous people and all this and that. But how, with the Taylor Swift shit, how do you guys have so much hate and animosity for somebody that you've never met in person? I can't wrap my mind around hating somebody so much or disliking somebody so much that I've never met in person. And I think that's a big thing with society as a whole nowadays. Like we're so quick to judge people based off of what we see on the internet, but you don't know them people. And I mean, you can, and I mean, even if them people are in your local area and you see something bad about them on the internet, we're so quick to make a judgment about them. Like I said yesterday, the way I judge people is I judge you off of my personal interactions with you. So for me to sit here and say I dislike you or I hate you because of the internet or because it's the popular thing to do, like I can't wrap my mind around that. Like you gonna sit here and post that you hate Taylor Swift or you're sick of Taylor Swift or you dislike Taylor Swift because the internet said to. Like you don't even know this girl. You don't even know this girl personally. And I think a lot of these girls are just mad that she's dating Travis Kelce, and a lot of these girls want to be dating Travis Kelce. But it's like I've never understood how you can just get on the internet and be like, I dislike this person or I hate this person, and you've never even met them in person. You're just like basing your opinion of them off of what you've seen on the internet or what people or how told you or how people told you to feel on the internet. It's just crazy to me. But who you think is going to win the Super Bowl? Is Patrick Mahomes going to pull it out? Uh, are the 49ers going to pull it out? I have a hard time betting against Patrick Mahomes, honestly. I ain't got a lot of faith in Brock Purdy either. I think he's overrated. I think his defense is saving him a lot right now. But I wouldn't mind seeing a few of them Buckeyes on the 49ers win the Super Bowl, though. You know, but yeah, that Taylor Swift shit, I just wanted to talk about it for a quick second. Just because I don't understand how people be hating her and like have all this animosity for her and ain't never met her in person. But here's what it is. But that would go. But that goes with this topic. You can't let irrelevant people have power over you. If you go through life, um, if you go through life getting all worked up and mad about what people who have no effect on your life whatsoever, then you're letting them have power over you, and you can't do that. Um, if this person don't pay your bills, they don't put no food in your house, they don't put no clothes on your back, then fuck what they say. It don't matter what they say. Uh, so to let people that have no connection to you or have no effect on your life whatsoever have power over you, that's a waste of time. Why sit there and get mad at what somebody else says or somebody else's opinion over you when it has no effect on your life whatsoever? They're irrelevant. So it's a waste of time. Um, and that's one thing I had to learn as I got older. Like you got to be real picky with who you um, give your time to. You got to be real picky with who you acknowledge because a lot of people will say shit about you just because they want to get a reaction out of you. Um, like they don't even really care. They just sit around and they come up with some shit to say about you just so that they can get a fucking reaction out of you. And don't give them that power because that's what they want. They want you to acknowledge them. They want to get that reaction out of you because if they're not relevant and you are, then you're just making them relevant. So, yeah, you can't let irrelevant people have power over you. And as far as this, man, because I mean, started my own business with weddings and stuff like that. Start my own business with weddings and stuff like that. I see a lot of people that start their own businesses, whether it be making clothes or whether it be like well, anything like that, just like providing a service in your local area. Don't rely on the people in your area to make your business successful. Don't rely on the people in your area to make your business successful. Paid promotions are key. There are too many peoples around here, I feel like, that just they start up a new business and they promote it to the locals in the area, and then when it doesn't take off, they get discouraged and they quit, and they just do this over and over and over again. First thing that you have to realize, though, is that a lot of the people in your area have known you a big portion of your life, and they don't want you to become more successful than them. So it's hard for them to support you, especially when it comes to men, because when it comes to men, it's always a competition. Men are super competitive and men are always trying to get all the girls. So it's hard for this guy over here to support this guy with a new clothing company because he doesn't want this guy to be more successful than him, because that means that he's going to get all the girls and he's not going to get any girls. So that's what I feel like it is a lot of times with guys, because that's what guys mostly be focused on. It's like, oh, I don't want him to be doing better than me because he's gonna get more attention than me and he gonna get more girls than me. So I'm not supporting his business. And that's what I'm saying. Within your local area, it's always gonna be some kind of fucking competition, because don't nobody want you to be in the same area as them, being better than them. Um so a lot of times they don't support you because they don't want to be someone that isn't as successful in the area. So paid promotions are key. Paying to promote your shit to people that aren't in your area. I feel like that is a big thing. That is one of the main things that has to happen, is you have to promote your service or your product to people in other areas, other cities, other states, because those are the people that you're going to get most of the support from, because they don't have any background on you. They don't have any reason to decide that they don't like you. They don't know any of the people from your city that don't like you for whatever reasons. And so they don't prematurely come up with a judgment of you. They're going solely off of how good is your service, how good is your product. So that's why it's so huge to do paid promotions for cities and states that you're not in, because those are the people that's going to support your business the most, because those people decide whether or not your product or your service is good solely off of that product or service, not based on whether or not they like you or whether or not they're in competition with you, stuff like that. So don't rely on people in your area to make your business successful. Now I'm saying there are people in your area that will support your business. Obviously, there obviously are people in your area to support your business, but don't solely rely on people in your area to support your business. Make sure you're doing them paid promotions, because paid promotions on Facebook, Instagram, when you're on a website, if you got one, those work. They really work. So make sure that you are doing that. Make sure if you're starting a business and you want it to take off, make sure you're doing paid promotions for other cities, other states outside your area, especially if you're doing like shirts or clothing or something like that and you're shipping the product anyway. You can ship the product anywhere in the fucking country. It's not like you have to drive to them and perform a service. Like if I do a wedding and I promote it to fucking Kentucky or Tennessee and they see the promotion, I actually have to drive to that area. I mean, I get paid for it, but I actually have to drive to that area and film the wedding. So there's no reason for you, if you're creating clothing or offering some kind of service like that, there's no reason for you not to promote it to those areas, because you can ship it there. You can ship it anywhere in the world. You ain't even got to go down there and provide whatever they're paying for. So, and with that being said, to follow up with the paid promotion thing, I'm now offering podcast production on my website. I don't know why I put no my website. I'm now offering podcast production on my website. So if you have ambitions to start your own podcast, you can go over to my website at treyfilmsmedia.com, and there are packages on there for you to get production for your own podcast. And it wouldn't be like this. Like the production wouldn't be like this. Like I have the official cameras. If you've ever seen the Charged Up podcast, where we have like the 3 different angles, we're in the studio, with the official cameras. It's like that. And I can come wherever you're at. I can set up the cameras. We can set up all the microphones like the one I got right here. And we can produce you an official podcast. And you can either get it, you can either buy it at one episode for a certain price, or you can buy it at I think 3 episodes and get a discounted price. So if you got ambitions to start your own podcast, get on there and book it. Or just reach out to me on here, comment on here, message me on Instagram, Facebook, any of that, and we can get it cracking. You just start that. I mean, even if you just want to put your foot in the water and get a feel for it, we can come produce you one episode. You can put it out and then see what kind of feedback you're getting on it. See whether or not you like the whole flow of it. Because this podcast shit ain't for everybody. I'm gonna let you know right now. This podcast shit ain't for everybody. Like you have to be in the mood to talk. You have to have shit that you want to talk about. You have to be able to come up with shit on the fly that you want to talk about. So I mean, if you want to try the podcast shit, get a hold of me and we'll produce an episode. But like I said, I'm doing the production, but you got to come up with your own topics. You got to be able to keep a conversation flowing. If you want to have guests on there, you got to have reliable guests, because I mean, if you want to have guests on a podcast, you have to find reliable people that want to get on a podcast. Curtis Manley said, "How about them Harden Prexies? 15 wins and counting, baby." Yeah. I'm pretty sure. Curtis, let me know if I'm right or I'm wrong. Is the championship game tonight? I know I know Garrett's son and them play tonight at like, or at 10. Is that 10? Yeah. So let me know if the championship game's tonight. I was thinking it was tonight, Saturday, right? Yeah. Let me know if the championship game's tonight. But yeah, them Harding Prexies, man, 15 wins and counting. And a big part of that is due to the training and the coaching that we got going on out here in Marion, man. These kids are getting trained up and they're progressing faster. They're progressing faster than usual because we got all these ex players and people who are teaching the fundamentals and teaching them how to be all play today for the shit. Yeah, damn. 7th, 8th, 9th, all play today for the championship. So all of them are in the championship. So hey, got some talent coming up through the that's like he said, best record since Dyer and Marv's '09 season. Yeah. Yeah, man, got some talent coming up. So if you guys are out there, go check them out. The 7th, 8th, and 9th grade boys all play for the championship today for Harding. So if you guys are able to, make sure you go check them out, man. Make sure you go support these kids, because these kids are really putting in the work. Their parents are really making sure that they get to these trainers and they're getting coached up. They're really investing in these kids, and I love to see it. They're out here doing great things. I mean, that just tells you right there, you got all 3 grades playing for the championship today. It's like, pick one, and go watch them, man. Go support. And if you got younger kids, take them to go see them, and that'll inspire them to do some of the same stuff, because that's a lot of fucking talent if you got all 3 grades playing in the championship. And that just means that there's going to be a lot of those kids that end up going to college and playing ball. And I mean, take your kids to go see him. If you got young kids that aren't playing the sports yet, take your kids to go see him. That'll get them inspired. But yeah, shout out Curtis, man. He's one of the people out here, training them up, helping them become better people, putting these kids in the position to be successful out there at Excel Sports Academy. He's out there with Sean Dyer, making sure these kids are doing what they need to do to become successful. And it's showing because we were going through a little drought there for a minute where we didn't have a whole lot to cheer for, but it looks like we have a surplus of things to cheer for now. But Curtis said much more recourses for them to get better free. We all had the old rec, and when that closed, the city with stalemate with outlets to get better. We bouncing back though. Yeah. The old rec over there by the police, it's the police station now, I believe. Yeah, people used to go out there all the time and ball, and then they took it away from kids. But I guess that's what happens, man. I don't understand some of the decisions that the city makes sometimes, because when you take away a place where kids are able to go and do something productive instead of being out in the streets and stuff. And it's kind of fucking ironic that they turned it into a police station, because that tells you what they value more than anything. Um, so you took the recreation center where these kids could go and actually do something productive instead of being out and getting in trouble, and you turned it into a police station that would house police officers that would go out and arrest these kids for getting in trouble because they have nowhere else to go and do something productive. Like, that kind of shows you what they value most. And it's money. It comes down to money, because they get paid every time they make these traffic stops. Or, I mean, the police don't get paid, but the city gets paid every time they make these traffic stops, and people have to pay tickets and all this and that. And they realize that, I mean, the more resources they have afforded to pulling people over and giving them tickets and all that, the more money they're going to make. So yeah, I mean, and I mean, just putting that together, I just now thought about that. Yeah, yeah, Curtis, I just now thought about that. Like, they literally closed down the recreation center, turned it into a police station, and that was one of the main places that was keeping kids out of trouble. So it's like, look, that don't even make no sense to me. But it's all about money. It's all about money. What do we value most? You know. But yeah, man. Seventh, eighth, and ninth graders, they all play tonight for the championship. So make sure you guys go out and support them. Um, Curtis, I wish I had the flyer for that, because I'm pretty sure I know one of them, because Garrett's son is their championship is in Galleon. So, um, and I think Galleon is only like 25 minutes away. So if you guys can, man, go out there and support them. Um, I would be going, but I'm actually going to be out of town doing something else tonight. But I really wanted to go. But I'm gonna get out there and see him eventually, man. I went to the game the other night, and they did really good. A lot of talent. I'm just glad we got some of the people that used to play really investing their time in these kids and making sure that they're trained up and doing what they're supposed to do, because that also helps keep them out of trouble. Especially, like you said, without the old recreation center being there, it really gives these kids somewhere to go train and focus on something more productive rather than out here trying to be a fucking trap star. So I'm not saying that's the reason, but Harding hasn't had a winning coach since Jury's '09 year. Hey, and prior to the staff now, of course, and I want to get Gene Rucker on here, because it's not just basketball; it's fucking football too. And a lot of it's got to do. A lot of it's going to. I'm just gonna say it, man, because can I keep it real with y'all or not? Can I be real with you guys on here or not? Or do I have to sugarcoat shit so I don't hurt nobody's feelings? The fucking people that they got out there on that board, the athletic director, Kearns, all them, they just, what the fuck, bro? What are they doing? Like, I don't understand where the fuck their mindset is at. Like, they're fucking trash. They're terrible. Like, and then you got Gene. Man, we ain't had no success in fucking football either. And then you got Gene Rucker, who I played football with at Grant, who applied for the fucking head coaching job at Harding, and they turned him down. And then this motherfucker goes and wins 2 state championships with another program. Like, why ain't nobody talking about that? Why is nobody talking about that? And why don't I would love to get Kearns on here and just ask him what kind of logic he was trying to create when he was coming up with these decisions. Because I've heard that people have, yeah. Shout out to Gene for popping out for support. Oh, Gene was there. Yeah, he was here. I did see him post that he was here last night. And he said he had to finish the night off with a Tubby's pizza. That's like a fucking signature thing that you have to do when you come back to Marion. So yeah, Gene was here last night. He came to support the basketball team and everything like that. And good for Gene, man. And that's what I was saying about And that's what I was saying earlier about not letting irrelevant people have power over you, because Gene could have easily been spiteful about the fact that they turned him down for the coaching position. He could have easily been spiteful about it and not returned back to Harding to support these kids. But Gene's always been a bigger person, so he didn't take it out on the kids, man. He came back and supported the kids, came back and supported his school, even though the motherfuckers running the athletic department right now have no clue what the fuck they're doing or what they should be doing. Like, I would love to get Kearns on here and ask him, like, how the fuck are you guys coming up with all this? But that people like that just love to deflect. Because I know personally people that have reached out to Kearns and asked him why shit's happening the way it's happening, and he tells them that it's the board, and then that person goes to the board and they tell him that it's him. So they just keep on bouncing the blame back and forth because they know they ain't right. They know they ain't right. And it's fucked up because while they're doing all that shit, and they're bouncing the blame back and forth and they're fucking up the athletic programs and shit like that, the only ones that are really suffering from it are these kids, man. The only ones that are really suffering from it are these kids. So I'm just glad that the basketball team's doing so good. I'm glad that these ex-players and coaches are taking it into their own hands, and they're like, well, you know what? We're going to make something happen. We're going to utilize this talent. We're going to take these kids off the street, put them on a court, and help them do something productive. Curtis, appreciate you tuning in, man. Appreciate the support. Y'all have a good morning and day. All love. Yeah, man. Make sure you take your kids over to Curtis and Sean Dyer over at Excel Sports Academy. And, man, that's a fucking huge topic. It's Harding athletics, because it's just like the athletic department over there, the board, Sean Kearns, man. I would love to get him on here and just ask him what the fuck he's doing, because it don't make no goddamn sense to me. It don't make no sense to me. Like I said, Gene Rucker, man. Shout out Gene Rucker. And I want to get him on here eventually so that we can expose shit and so that we can really talk about what's going on around here. Gene applied for the head coaching job for football. They turned him down, and then he went somewhere else and won 2 state championships. And it's like, why do we not have that going on? And he played for Harding. And it's like, why do we not have that going on here? And before I even heard about any of this, I already had a problem with Kearns, because they got that new football field and they locked that motherfucking track up like it's Area 51. They locked that track up like it's Area 51. Like, you have people in the community whose tax dollars paid for that football field and that track. Because I remember when I was a kid, like, me and my mom used to always go to that track and walk and run. And you could get in, it wasn't no problem. Now it's like that motherfucking track is locked up like Fort Knox. And it's all these people in the communities whose tax dollars pay for that track, and they can't even get in and use it. So it's just like they just keep on shutting down all this shit that kids could go be doing instead of going out and getting in trouble. But they keep on shutting it down and kids can't utilize it. Like Curtis got on here and talked about. They shut down the old recreation center and turned it into a fucking police station. That was the one place that kids always went to go play basketball, to go hang out with friends. And they shut it down, turned it into a police station. So now the one place that all these kids had to go, they don't have anymore. So now instead of doing that, they out here getting in trouble and shit. And then you got this place being a police station, and the same people that's housing this place out arresting those same kids. And I'm not saying that there still wouldn't be kids out getting in trouble, because there would be. But it's just the fact that if we give them more resources to use and more places to go and do something productive, the less time that they have out on the streets and around the wrong people doing the wrong shit. I mean, yeah, shout out to Gene Rucker, man. I don't know what Harding was doing. I don't know why they've been making the decisions that they've been making, but it's just like, yeah, I appreciate you tuning in, Kiera. Just trying to keep it real, man. There's just too much, to be quite frank, just too much fuck shit going on around here in Marion, especially over here at Harding. And it's sad for me to see. I think it's sad for anybody to see who went to Harding and they know how good Harding used to be in sports. And then you have certain people take over and it just goes to hell. And a lot of it is politics. A lot of it is who knows who. What parents are we trying to please? What parents donate the most money? And I mean, that was a problem even when we went, and even when we went there, like motherfuckers not playing the best players because they know the parents. Like coaches not playing the best players because they go out and they have beers with the kid's dad, with another kid's dad. I mean, we all seen that shit. There was instances at Harding where you had infinite talent in kids, but the coaches would play other players because that coach would go out with that player's dad and have beers every now and then, or they were close friends and they didn't want to upset them. We have to get better people in these positions, man. I don't know who has the final say in everything or who comes up with everything, but it's like at this point, what are we doing, man? What are we doing? Because you all seen I had Marv and Shaq on the one podcast, and they was talking about how the banners were getting pulled down in the basketball gym at Harding because they said that's not who we are anymore. But that was one of the best years that Harding had. You know what I mean? So it's like, why are we taking down banners for some of the best years that Harding had? And you're saying that's not who we are anymore, but then you're just turning it into something worse. It's like, so you're trash now? Like you're not good anymore. You're trash now and you're just admitting it. But it's like, but man, shout out to Curtis. Shout out to Sean Dyer. Shout out to everybody that's got something to do with the success in the Harding basketball program right now because they really got you guys working with your hands tied behind your back. So I can only imagine what you guys would do if you guys had a competent fucking athletic director or board of directors for the athletic department. I can only imagine what you guys could achieve if you had somebody competent in those positions because the people that you have in there right now got you guys working with two hands, not just one hand, two hands tied behind your back, and your legs are crisscross applesauce, and they got you guys trying to work like that, and you guys are still making it happen, man. And shout out to Curtis, man. Yeah, Curtis always tunes into the podcast. He always lets me know what's going on within the athletics there, man. But yeah, 7th, 8th, 9th grade boys, they're playing for the championship tonight. So make sure you go out there and support them, man. That shit means a lot to those kids. Kyle Smith, 100%. There's a lot of people that agree with me, and the reason is because it's not hard to see. It's not hard to see, man. And you just got to keep in mind that the ones suffering the most from all this are these kids. So there's got to be a change made, and I don't know how to make that change aside from just enough people complaining about it or there being an uproar about it. But yeah, man, shout out to Harding basketball, Curtis Manley, Sean Dyer getting those kids together, man. Shout out to Gene Rucker. And I'm gonna start anytime I talk about Gene, I'm gonna start addressing him like this. Shout out to 2-time state championship winning coach Gene Rucker. That's how I'm gonna start addressing him. Shout out to 2-time state championship winning coach Gene Rucker. For all of y'all that don't know who Gene is, he played football at Harding. He tried to become the head coach at Harding, and they said nah. So you know what Gene did? He went somewhere else and he won 2 fucking state championships. And he could have been bitter, and he could have been like, I'm not going back, and I'm not supporting him. Again, he could have been bitter about it, but he came back last night, and he supported the kids' basketball game. So shout out to Gene, man. Kyle Smith. I played football for 12 years in a place like Marion Sports is all these kids have. That's all they got, man. That's all they got. Like I know a lot of people that I grew up with that are in trouble now. They're in big trouble. And they're getting in all kinds of trouble. They're in and out of jail. They're going to prison. All this shit. But when they were younger, they were so involved in sports that they just really didn't have time to go all that. They didn't really have time to go do all that shit that they're doing right now. So we need that shit. And I'm gonna say it again. Shout out to Curtis and Sean over there at XL Sports Academy because those guys are really giving these kids an outlet to go somewhere and do something productive instead of something stupid out here on the streets. Yeah, but gonna get back into the show. I know that was a topic that I was super passionate about. So I definitely wanted to spend a minute on that. I'm going to get Gene Rucker and I believe it is Jared Slater on here, and we're going to take a deeper dive. That's going to be another episode, and I'm probably going to do an official pod for that, not like this live stream. It's probably going to be an official pod. Like we're going to sit down. We're really going to dive deep into why and how and what happened with that whole thing. I'm going to probably sit down with. I know I talked to Gene about it already, sitting down with him and Jared and just getting the whole background on that and seeing what exactly happened. Well, we're going to jump back into the show. What do you guys think about toxic masculinity? I know that's a fucking complete 360. But how do you guys feel about toxic masculinity? You think that's a real thing? You think it can be toxic to be too masculine for a man? Oh, shit. Dylan Coleman, donors should be, we'll get back into that. Donors should be, I knew this was going to be a big topic. Donors should be anonymous and paid through an online portal so no one gets favored. Running used to be my mental stability, my time away from normal life, like going on a vacation. Running helps not only for physical ability, but also mental ability, because the further you run, the more you fight mental battle of stopping. Sad they lock it up now. Yeah, and that goes back to the track that I was talking about. Harding got that new, and this was Sean Kearns, everybody. If y'all want to complain about some shit, this is Sean Kearns. And I'm tired of the fucking teachers at Harding or ex-teachers at Harding who get on Facebook and they try to defend the shit like, oh, this is why they did it and all this and that. And it's like, man, stop acting like a fucking teacher for 2 seconds, because the only people that are suffering from what you guys are doing are the goddamn kids. So stop acting like a fucking teacher for 2 seconds. Stop trying to be politically correct and look at the situation and see what is right and say what is right. I'm so tired of these fucking present teachers or ex-teachers from Harding trying to defend this man, Sean Kearns, for what the fuck he's doing and come up with excuses for it. Like, oh, well, this is why they did it. No, there ain't no legitimate reason for why you're doing it, because what you're doing is you're ruining these kids' lives. That's what you're doing. And then you're trying to come up with a reason for why. There ain't no reason why you should ever be doing that. But like Dylan said, and it was just kind of going off of what I said about the track, like they got that new football field out there and started locking up that goddamn track. So you can't even go over there to walk or run on the track. And their excuse was because they didn't want it to get vandalized. Man, they had the track when they had the old football field out there. They had that track open all the time, and I don't never remember seeing no graffiti, nobody tearing the fucking shit up, none of that shit. And I mean, when it comes down to it, you're asking all these people to pay tax money to go towards this, and then you're telling all them people that pay the tax money to go towards it that they can't use it. What the fuck? That don't make no sense, man. It's for the community. The community pay for it. Let the community use it. If the community fucks it up, then don't do it again. It's that fucking simple. I don't know why we make this shit harder than it needs to be. But yeah, there are a few teachers out at Harding, and I'm not going to name no names, because they're not solely responsible for it, and they're not the ones that I think need to be focused on. And I think they have good intentions. But there are a few teachers at Harding that every time I've brought something up, exactly like Kelsey said, if someone wants to vandalize it, it'll happen regardless. Them fucking chain link fences ain't stopping nobody from getting over and vandalizing that shit if they really want to do it. If somebody really wants to vandalize that shit, they're going to figure out a way to do it regardless. It's just like goddamn gun control. It's just like the fucking gun control shit. It's fucking stupid. You make guns illegal. Okay. It's just like fucking drugs. They're going to get it regardless. Drugs are illegal, but motherfuckers still get them, don't they? If people want to do it bad enough, they're going to figure out a way to do it. It's just like that. So, I mean, open up the track. If it gets vandalized, fuck it. We paid for it. But like she said, a wonderful point. If someone wants to vandalize it, it's going to happen regardless. You locking that shit up ain't going to, if somebody really wants to get in there, they're going to climb that fucking fence, or they're going to bring some fucking bolt cutters, and they're just going to cut a hole in that motherfucker and go in and vandalize it if they really want to do it that bad. But I mean, who's sitting there on a Friday and they're just like, you know what? Let's go fuck up Harding's football field. Nobody's doing that. But that is the mentality of rich white folks. I mean, that's the mentality of rich white folks, though. If I'm being completely honest, that's what rich white folks do. If you go into a rich white community, that's what they do is Gimme, get the fuck away. Don't touch my shit. Get off my driveway. You know what I'm saying? It's just like that. Kearns is acting like that. And Kearns ain't rich that I know of, but that's how he's acting. He's acting like a rich old white lady. Dealing 100%. And that's all I know how to keep it. It's 100. But yeah, man. And like I was saying, with these teachers at Harding, and I'm not going to name no names because I know some of them have good intentions and they're just trying to be optimistic and positive. But these teachers at Harding, they have to realize that when they do that and they defend the actions of Kearns or the athletic board, and I keep saying that because I don't know which one is more responsible because they just bounce the blame off of each other. When these teachers defend their actions, all they're doing is hurting the kids. So it's like, I think it's time for these teachers, instead of every time they do something questionable, their automatic response is to defend it. And, oh, this is the reason why they do it and all this and that. I think they really need to sit down and do some soul searching and be like, okay, first of all, is what they've been doing working? Is it working? Have we been successful in athletics? And the answer to that is no. No, we haven't. And then the second question you have to ask is it in these kids' best interest to have these people at the helm of athletics? And the answer is no. They're not. Absolutely not. And I don't understand why there's not more of an uproar about it. Because if you have enough people in the community that are like, what the fuck are we doing? A change is going to be made. And I feel like a change has to be made because it's not about community no more with these people that are in control of the athletic department. It's not about community no more. It's not about taking care of ex students. It's about how nice can we make the facility and how good can we look to the public eye? Because and that's what I've noticed. All they care about is how nice the facility looks. So when traveling teams come in, they're like, oh, look at the fancy shit. And they're just worried about looking good to the public eye. Because no longer do they acknowledge the past athletes that were great who ended up getting in trouble later on in life. I mean, that's why they took the fucking banner down for one of the best basketball seasons they ever had, because they no longer acknowledge them. They're worried about how they look in the public eye. That's not who they are no more. That's what they said. So it's like they've settled for being losers as long as they have a nice facility and they look good in the public eye, which is like, you can still do that and be good at sports and be successful at sports. So yeah. Now listen, the athletic director, the board of directors, whoever the fuck is in control of all that, they are what they are. They've done what they've done. The people that are coaching these teams, though, the coaches of these basketball teams, shout out to you guys, man. Because like I said, you guys are doing this shit with your hands tied behind your back, your legs crisscross applesauce, and they got you, and you guys are still out here helping these kids and being successful with very little resources that they're giving to you. And kudos to you guys, man. Kudos to you guys. And like I said, Curtis and Sean, man, they played basketball. And I just love to see them giving back. And I wish that they would let Gene come back and coach the football team and get us back to where we need to be in football too, because Harding was a football powerhouse. I remember when I was a little kid going to Harding football games with my dad, and watching them play made me want to play when I got older. Like, there was a game that is very vivid in my head. Harding won. The fucking player came out to the 50-yard line and did a fucking backflip, and I said, man, this is where I want to play. You know what I mean? This is where I want to play. And these little kids right now that aren't old enough to play, they see that shit. And they look up to those kids and they look up to that shit. So what do you think these kids want to do? The kids right now, the kids that you got that are like 6, 7, 8 years old, if nobody's going to the games because the teams aren't any good, if they don't never see these teams winning, if the teams aren't never getting talked about, players aren't never getting talked about. What do you think that makes these kids want to do? Because I know when I was little and Harding was so good at football, that made me want to get older and play football for Harding. So if these teams aren't good, what do you think that makes these little kids want to do? It makes them want to go out and do that other shit instead of grow up and play sports like these older kids that they're seeing have all the success. So I mean, it's got an effect on all the younger generations too. We got to do better, man. We have to do better. Um, and y'all know who it is. I've said it a bunch already. Sean Kearns. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. I would love to have him on here and talk to him. I would love to have him on here and have a respectful conversation. I'm not gonna get on here and cuss him out, but I would love to get on here and have him explain why the fuck he's made some of the decisions he's made. Because I guarantee you there ain't no logical explanation behind it. So let's figure this shit out. But he ain't going to. He's not going to. You know how them motherfuckers are, man. He's not going to. But that's okay because it's going to get to a point where I get so many people on here exposing the shit that he's done that eventually he's going to have to come out and try to defend himself. And then we'll see if he wants to get on. He might not. But the only thing that I can do is just keep on getting the people on here to expose him and see why. Why did you make this dumbass decision? Why are you making these kids pay for it? But all right, we'll jump to we'll go to the next episode. Y'all can still comment about it. Every time y'all comment about it, I get on a fucking another thing. Oh shit. Hold on 1 second, my camera went off. All right, y'all. So bear with me for a second. My camera battery went dead, and I don't know why because it's plugged up to a charging station. So give me 1 second. All right, guys. We'll pick back up tomorrow. There's just a lot that I gotta do. We already went for 53 minutes. I usually try to go for an hour, so we're just gonna cut this a little short. But we will pick back up tomorrow. If you guys still want to talk about what we talked about on here today, we can do that. But I'll have a whole new list of topics tomorrow and everything. But appreciate you guys tapping in for another episode of the Morning Brew podcast. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, and I will see you guys tomorrow.